even in Asia, India, making big strides. The name is C-Real. This is Culture Daily, the big conversation. I have my co-host, Olele Salvador and Lenny Lomote, with me as usual. But we have two added guests from Boomplay. We have the man on my left, Sway Kid, head of content. Good morning, bro.
Good morning, Charlie.
Oh, speak up, Vim, for me. Good morning, bro.
Good morning, good morning.
Yes. I want to know that you are here. I want them to know that you are here.
I'm here.
And we have my big brother, Paul, head of PR as well, here from Boomplay. Senior.
Good morning.
Akwaboah.
Good morning,
Charlie, if Paul is a
Charlie, Paul and Sway, you're Vim. Charlie.
Energy.
Oh, good morning.
The music people. Let's go.
We'll pick up.
Yes. Charlie. So we're here for our big conversation as usual, and today we are focusing on Ghanaian music, the year in under review, the big wins, the lessons learned, the statistics, the data, the roadmap that has evolved out of all this big English I am speaking. Sway, Kid, Charlie, what's up, bro?
I'm good.
Were you at any festivities yesterday?
No, I couldn't.
Shame. Charlie, it's all good. Me, myself, I had to run away. But speaking of manifestivities, we've had quite a busy festive season, right?
Yeah.
So far, shows from almost every major artist putting on their own platform and all that. What do you make of that?
For me, it's really interesting. I mean, apart from being another source of revenue for the artist, it's also, let the artist understand or know who his audiences are. And when you are buying tickets, most of them are doing it digitally.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they will be able to get data and even go directly to them and inform them about whatever they do have. And also, I like the way they are inviting other artists, most across borders to come into the space.
So it's like a mixed bag,
Exactly.
Every platform has a mixed bag of new
Now,
artists.
Music being digital, you should be able, as an artist, you should be able to tap in different markets as well. Once you invite somebody, the thinking is that the person will also champion your cause in their country. And if they have even some events, they can also invite you to go and be part of. So for me, it's good. It shows also the unity, more or less, within the space, because some of the artists we do have here will be showcased on that platform. And with manifestivities in particular, one thing I've come to appreciate is how he puts young upcoming artists on, emerging talent. And this year's roster looks good for me. Babaji was there, Marins was also there, and a lot of others.
Kofi.
Yeah. And it's exciting. It's always exciting. I wasn't there. I didn't know how it went, but I'm sure.
I was there. It was solid. Sound was impeccable.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah. And I like what you said about bringing different brands together. And I have two scenarios that I'd like to contrast. You just mentioned manifestivities, where a lot of talent was highlighted and got a positive spotlight with regards to PR. And I want to throw this to Paul. We're especially talking about PR and cross-brand association. King Promise is catching heat for his cross-brand association with Wizkid. King Promise hasn't done anything wrong. His biggest crime was that he was there with Wizkid, and he's catching heat. Somebody else was on another platform, and they are catching a lot of love. From a PR perspective, how do you think these events matter? Is it a big deal that maybe I shouldn't stand on Sway Kid's stage because Sway has bad press and Ebibe Kame, or vice versa?
Okay, so I think regards to King Promise, I think the problem actually came from him putting out the statement and not him being around Wizkid at that time. And so the attention came onto him that he was also billed for the event.
Yeah.
He didn't show up, and so that and that has been the issue. But I think one thing that he did pretty well recently was him showing up at I think it was the Gyakie event.
Gyakie,
yeah, with R2Bs, and you can still see.
Can you just adjust the mic so that you can relax? Yes.
Yeah. So and you can still see the level of love people actually showed him in the event. So basically, he's come out to apologize. That's another good thing. Look, we are just probably looking forward to his own event and see how it goes. In all this, I think the best thing for the artists around this time is to sell experiences, because we've had concerts where we just see artists just come up on stage and they sing and they just move away. But if they're able to sell experiences, I think they can able to help the narrative a bit more. Like you said, you went and you were wowed by the sound, which is something we normally have problems with.
We complain about a lot.
You get it. So it's a very good platform and manifest going into that show, and so you hopefully next year we'll see more people wanting to go just because of the fact that when they were assured of good sound, and also they were assured of like good performances from especially the young artists. So,
and I think before we get into the nitty-gritty of the music itself, I just want to put this out to the relevant authorities as well, that the venues affect the quality of the event. The acoustics at the Bukom Arena spectacular because of the way the place is built like a coliseum. The stairs rise, so the acoustics
an amphitheater,
exactly, and it's beautiful sound. And we have that problem with a lot of our spaces because they are just hollow spaces, and you need a lot of overwhelming sound to create that depth. So we also need to look at industry and enabling beyond the artist and the fan. But like we said, we're going to be having a conversation about the year in review and about the music and what the back end is telling us. So I'm going to let Sway Kid, my bro, lead the conversation. I'm going to let him tell us what's what, why this even matters. Why do we need to review? Why should we review the year? Why should we care what the data says? Because somebody might say Shatta Wale is number 2 most listened male, but Shatta Wale say no, should I drop this year? You know, why does it matter? I need us to get into that. Paul, Sway Kid, it's your show. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so basically, like the report that we actually put together, the Boomplay recap for 2022, is basically an annual music report where we provide stats and insights as to music consumption on the Boomplay platform. So we basically show the habits, listenership habits, the engagements from content based on the streaming data that we actually have. Why is this important? This is important because like Boomplay as a platform, for instance, has a large base of users, which are we'll say like you can say like the lower to middle class, the average, the young people. So they form a very large base, and so they actually provide the.
Can you give us a figure?
A figure of
Boomplay total listenership, all in all.
Total listenership.
So we have a monthly active users.
Yes. Okay.
Of 88 million.
88 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Ghana.
No, not only in Ghana.
Not only in Ghana. Where?
That's like across like the whole,
The globe.
all the whole region, like the region, basically all the regions that we cover. The total monthly active users is 88 million.
And the Ghanaian catalog is available to these 88 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's available to like all the 88 million who are the active users.
I'm establishing this because I want to know that if you tell me that, let's say, Lasmid has the biggest song this year, then it's not just the biggest song in Ghana, but it's the biggest song across this region of 88 million active monthly. Would that be correct to assume?
No.
Because now we are dealing with stats, so we need to be clear
You
on
see,
the data.
with the recap for Ghana specifically,
Yeah.
we are looking at streams from Ghana.
Yeah. Do you have a number for that?
Yeah.
Yes. We are looking at streams for Ghana. So, yes, you might see somebody like Black Sherif having more, Black Sherif having more streams on his album than maybe Lasmid. But when you do the breakdown or you look at the back end data, you see that some of the streams are coming from other regions,
Nigeria, blah, blah, blah.
and not necessarily, So with Lasmid, the bulk of it is from Ghana.
Okay.
So if you do that comparison, you
And
realize
on the Ghana
that,
market,
yes, on the
he's
Ghana
ahead.
market, he's ahead.
Okay. Okay. So this speaks also more to homegrown consumption
Exactly.
for homegrown talent.
Exactly.
Not music available on the internet.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Now, I want to ask further that you've done a whole list of categories.
Yeah.
Right? What informed these categories? Were they just, off the top categorizations, or were these to establish some kind of chart or ranking within your own system, or just for the consumers to know who their favorites were and why and all stuff? Because I could think of a lot of categories that could be added, which were not added.
If you give us,
next year we'll rope it.
Yeah.
But for now, we are looking at the consumer behavior. When it comes to the music, what kind of music are people listening to on the platform? Yes, like you said, there might be other categories of music or genres of music that people are listening to, but compared to the ones that we've published, actually, they are getting the traction. People are listening to more Afrobeats, people are listening to hip hop, people are listening to gospel, people are listening to dancehall, reggae, within the Ghanaian space. So it's based on that, the listenership behavior and the numbers back in the listening behavior of those our users that we did this breakdown. So when you also go to the artists, we also look at who the favorites are, who usually get a lot of airplay or plays from the consumers. We already, with Boomplay, I'm sure with every platform, they also do theirs based on certain metrics. So for us, we also have our top artists. We have our top 100, top 50, top 20. So we look at them year in, year out because they are the ones releasing. So within the year, those that you see are the ones who are being competitive on the platform. And within the year, most of them have dropped albums, they've dropped EPs, they've dropped singles. Some have been very consistent with their releases, like the Shatawale thing that you spoke about. Shatta has dropped an EP. He also dropped a collaborative project with Medical. He also dropped a GOG Chaff album. And in between, yes. So in between, he has also been releasing singles. Yes, he might not have scored a bigger song this year, but in terms of being consistent with his releases, he's been one of the most prolific artists on the platform. And Shatta has a cult following. Yes, let me put it that way. So no matter what song he puts out, people will be interested in going to search for it and listen to it. And Boomplay being a freemium service as well, I also can say that most of his fan base are on the platform. And Shatta has also this thing of creating buzz around his music. There have been instances where he will just jump on social media, make a lot of noise even before a song drops. You wake up the next day, there's a song, or you drop a song and he goes online, not to talk about the song basically,
just to make his brand relevant.
Yes, make his brand. So the talkability will force people to go and check what's happening. So all these things build up to his numbers in app.
Mentioning Shatawale, that brings to mind how songs resurface, right? So I'll make reference to the JJC. Exactly. It has resurfaced and is doing well. What do you think you attribute that to? Because it seems to me like some of these songs go to sleep and then they wake up months later or weeks later and are doing well. So what will be it for you guys, especially you knowing what the back end looks like?
Yes, I was also caught by surprise because prior to JJC making an appearance on the most listened song, under Shatawale's category, it was On God, and I think there was another song of really. Yeah, this song that he did, recently he dropped a song that sounded like a banner.
Cash Out.
Yeah, Cash Out. But JJC started appearing, right. So I was also taken aback as to what was happening. So from conversation, it seems online, this TikTok and videos TikTok are picking it up and running their own promo. So it also reflects. Whatever happens on TikTok, whatever happens on IG, whatever happens on Facebook, has a direct translation on the streaming platform. If you're an artist and you are getting a buzz, be it a release, and it's not reflecting, on any of the social, the digital stores, then there is a disconnect. But he has found a way of getting his people or his fans, to be curious enough to come onto the digital platform to stream those kind of music.
Would you say the advantage of being a freemium DSP aids the market to consume more? Because All the other competitors, I mean, I don't want to talk about them, but you subscribe, right?
Yeah.
You pay something monthly, blah, blah, blah. But here you have the option of going in free and experiencing it and everything. I want to know if in the back end when you are doing that, do you also do, of course, everybody does competitor analysis, but I want to know your competitor analysis. Are these stats similar, or do you think your freemium nature skews your findings in a certain way?
Okay, like for there will be a foundational template where the data looks similar, but one thing, ours will be more inclusive because there's a large audience base. It catches a large market. Then also most of the users that we actually have, right? The goal for us is to try to make sure our industry is moving towards legal consumption of music. And so where you have users actually going to illegal platforms or illegal sites, we are trying to get all these people to come down to Boomplay. And so that actually informs our data. So our data will be more reflective of what is actually on the ground. That's how come our charts are a bit different from other platforms. Yeah, because ours is, and also we have our team who are culturally driven, and they actually in tune as to what is happening on the ground. And so, from curation and prioritization point of view, our skew more towards what is actually happening. So that will be the difference.
Okay. So I like that you said it skews more towards what is actually happening because you have a larger consumer base. Yeah. That's perfect. Do artists reach out for this data?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a Boomplay for artist verification.
Yeah.
So whoever comes, we tell them that you have to sign up to get your insight. Some do.
Is it a paid service?
No, it's free.
Some do. A scale of 1 to 10, how much are they complying?
Okay, I would say most of the top tier artists on our platform do have it.
Okay.
And
so you mentioned 4 people. Mm-hmm.
They are wonderful. And the emerging artists who come. So anybody who comes to our office for interaction.
So this data is not just there for us, the consumers, to go wow.
No.
They are actually learning from it and using it strategically. Yes. Okay, I want to just glimpse through the Nigerian rankings that you have here, right?
Okay.
Top male, I'm going to do it quite fast. Top male, we have Burna at number 1, Ashake at number 2, and Kiss Daniels at number 3, right?
Yeah.
Two big names are out of it. Do you have any reason why Wizkid and Davido are not in this top 3? And why Ashake has taken Davido's spot and why Kiss Daniel has taken Wizkid's spot? Because if you asked anybody on the planet that 2022 biggest Niger acts, is Burna with David?
No.
And the data says differently because don't forget, Case has had Buga.
Apart from Buga,
so Buga, Kofi 2 came.
And even there was even a receipt. There's a lot of residual listenership from his Barnabas EP.
Yeah.
So that's translated into like the figures that I actually have. But Case is one of the biggest artists in Africa, especially 2022. When it comes to 2022, the only thing that Asake actually did to beat Keys, probably the consistency with his singles. His singles were very, very spaced, shortly spaced. Then the EP or his project, his album also came, which also did very, very well. And so
what's the for the benefit of those who don't have access to the data? What's the duration?
Speak up.
What's the duration? From what point to what point do you pick this data from? To assign these milestones for the artists.
Okay, so it's from 1st November 2021 to 31st October 2022. So that's the year under review.
Okay, so that's the same as three music awards calendar. Okay, yeah, exactly. So the reason I'm asking that is because of the Wizkid Davido conversation, because I think Davido.
Davido also had a good year.
Yeah, I think Davido had a good year. I'm not too sure.
I mean, of course, good year doesn't mean that statistically. Even if they passed it by one, he won't be ranked.
Exactly.
So I get it.
It's also only just top 3 that is represented here.
Right.
When you look at maybe the top 10.
And the margin might be tight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From number 3 to 4 might be very tight. 4 to 5 might be very tight. So, I mean, this is good. Moving on to the ladies, right? We have Aya Star. Now, I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
And number 1, right? Vibe Killer.
But Rush was a good record.
Rush was a good good record, regardless. But number 1, again, I am surprised. And then Mercy Chinwo at number 2, and then Simi at number 3. Simi as well, I'm surprised.
This are not surprising to ask.
No Tiwa Savage. I mean, I wouldn't want to use the phrase old guard, but names day we they expect. And, so is it that the music consumption of these new age artists is more on the DSPs? Is it that maybe the Tiwa Savages and the rest have so much radio airplay and so much real world media at their fingertips that we are not necessarily pushing their consumption on digital? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'd hear Tiwa Savage everywhere.
Or even attempts.
Or attempts everywhere.
Attempts is not even here.
But if I need to listen to Aya Star, I might see a TikTok video, an Instagram video with her song, and I go on a DSP and I stream it, as compared to a Tiwa. I'm just trying to see if you've been able to identify any behavioral patterns from the data, because you still have Queen Tiwa there. And for Aya to be number 1, then something happened.
But don't also forget that most of the consumers on our platform are Gen Zs.
Exactly.
So they relate more to
their type.
And Arista being a new musician on the scene, Mavens have this knack of promoting their artists locally before they carry them globally. With the exception maybe Rima, who
took his own path. Early.
So most of them, if you check this new guy, Bayani, for instance, the grooming, it's all magics. All of them, are being developed within the local market to appeal to the youth within their market. For Tiwa, for instance, she's done it all within the local market, and most of them, like her, Waze, Davido, and Fireboy, for instance, they are looking outside.
Right.
They are trying to market their stuff more
outside. So they are at a point of growth where this is not necessarily their focus, because they've done it.
They've conquered the local market.
Okay.
So they
well understood. That's the hand. So you've answered my question.
But what would you say about Thames, though? Thames had a number of...
I think Thames is blowing the other way around. Thames is blowing outside in.
Because she hasn't released any song. Record. Most of them are features. Most of them are...
Her career is doing phenomenally well. Even though she's not necessarily pushing songs locally. So she has kind of a mixed bag. Now, top booming artist, this is the phenomenal growth. People who had a phenomenal growth. And I'm happy to see Ashake there, because Ashake really took everybody by storm this year. Now, Young John and Lade.
Adulthood has come, right?
Lade is adulthood. Okay, that song went viral. So exactly. Young John.
Young John is interesting because
Young John has an Ashake feel, right?
No,
is it Burner?
Young John is actually like a producer on the YBN label.
He's a singer producer.
He's a singer producer. Okay.
So virtually for him, it's like virtually with Young John and Lade, you're looking at virtually them being at say from ground zero to
where they are now. So to relevance.
Exactly. And so that's how come it's informing where they why they are in the midst with Ashake.
Okay.
But this is in no order, right? Because I realized that it's
the top woman is not in order.
So no, it's not in order. Like if it's in order, it will be captured.
Okay. So I mean, we've mentioned the most streamed songs already. We've mentioned Buga, we've mentioned Overdose, and we've mentioned Fireboy DML and with Bandana with Ashake. So that's all nice and dandy. But most streamed gospel songs, we have Moses Bliss, Too Faithful. We have Satisfied by Obinasom, and then Omo Baba with Spirit of Prophecy. So gospel is also quite big. The same way it's big in Ghana is how it's big in Nigeria. Tanzania. But do you see the Nigerians more actively pushing gospel in a contemporary form? Because I don't know any of these 3 songs.
I
don't listen much to it, so maybe it's me. Not to say anything about the song.
I'm sure you've actually heard a record, but you don't even.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
You know, there's one thing that from discussion with my colleagues in Nigeria that these gospel artists do. You know, they belong to churches, mega churches. So what they do is they go to the churches and ask the pastors actually tell them the worshippers that this person has a song out. So you go and stream.
Wow.
So it's like they make the song, they announce it in church, and you know how people actually congregate.
Yeah.
Yes. So they all go in there. And talking about digital, they understand the digital market better. So they know how to, move around. And we've had occasions where even emerging gospel artists reach out to us, and they have agents who reach out to you, send you pitches, trying to even get your audience over here. And it's not too strange to find their music doing very well here.
Okay.
Occasions when you go to programs, actually church-related programs, you see them, our people singing some of these Nigerian songs.
I'd like to. Okay, let me go.
You mentioned reflecting of the songs, right? Of the stream numbers from the streaming platforms and then to social media, and then from social media to the streaming platforms, right? Yeah. Is there a thing as streaming farms? Because we hear that a lot, where the numbers don't reflect. We don't see the numbers that we are seeing probably on socials are not reflecting.
Like the person has 200 followers, but they've streamed the song 7 million times.
Yeah,
the math doesn't work.
Streaming farms exist.
Do you deal with that? Is that a problem on your end?
For our end, we have mechanisms of
sourcing,
of even detecting, and there have been occasions where we've detected.
So people have tried it, and
because we do the comparison. We have our own.
The data cannot lie.
Yes, it doesn't. It doesn't reflect.
The data is not data.
Sometimes.
So in such an instant, let me use Olele. Yeah. Olele's music career. He tried to do music fun, and then you caught Olele. What happens next?
Oh, we will just strike all the streams. We will look at the streams. Look at the search.
You strike the content as you take it off the platform.
We take it off. And if you realize that it's been a repeated thing, we will not deal with you again.
Olele likes that. Olele the oppressor. So it's good. Don't deal with him. Don't put his profile there again. Now, some interesting facts. I want to move into Tanzania, but some interesting facts. The most chart-topping song in Nigeria was Alcohol, Joe Boy. Yeah. But Joe Boy didn't feature on any of the lists. Data-wise, how does that work? How does he have a song that has charted 10 times, but he's not in any of the lists?
Yeah, like...
I must teacher die early, so...
Yeah, like I was telling you about the residual listenership.
Yeah.
One thing we've also realized about the consumer behavior is that people are not just going. For instance, when new releases come, people are just not going straight to the new release. They are still listening to previous releases.
So everything is happening simultaneously.
Exactly.
Let's say in an hour span, Joe Boy gets listened to, while an Arya Star gets listened to, while an Ashake gets listened to. So it's not mutually exclusive. It's not that because they are listening to this one is not being listened to.
Exactly.
Then your work will be small.
It will be small.
Because 88 million people with such sporadic listening pattern, and wow. Okay.
And there are instances where artists drop songs, they become big, and their next release is not necessarily to be a bigger song, just to be a popular song.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sip Alcohol is big. He dropped Contour. They didn't pick up, but it was Contour. It's still bubbling.
It's brewing. It didn't pick like.
Still has streams.
It's the same case with Lasmid. Friday night, caught fire, and Ateli
is brewing.
Started also picking. And now, if you look at our top 10, even top 5, Ateli is in there.
Okay. Wow. Now, genre-wise, right? Everybody switched to Afrobeats in the last 2 years, if I do say so myself. And now Amapiano came, and this year has held all of us hostage. Right? To be very honest, if they play some mix and Amapiano no day inside, it's not a mix. Yeah. Now I see it here as the booming genre. So I like the caption, not necessarily with the most audience, but the fastest growing. Yeah. Do you see a lot of the artists who, I mean, of course, you're able to see that, okay, Serial, when he posts his profile, it's hip hop he has put there. Yeah. But do you see Serial changing to Amapiano? Do you see people reacting to these changes in genre? Do you get it? The artist, do you see, like, because I know Davido has Amapiano content, blah, blah, blah. So do you see, as the genres are changing or coming in, artists also moving with it, or are people sticking to their guns?
Yeah, like we see it often. Even let me just give you a classical example in South Africa, where the whole Amapiano rave started from. Basically, their hip hop scene virtually like went under. It had to take some of the hip hop artists moving their sound to Amapiano in order to gain the traction and attention that they actually wanted. And that's how you have people like Casper. One like his biggest record this year was an Amapiano song.
AKA tried something.
AKA came back, did a fusion of Afrobeat and Amapiano, and even in a song he was making reference to people who actually sold that and all that, and basically that. But he also had to like come back to reignite his whatever he was trying to do, which is like an album that he's trying to bring out, come back to the Amapiano sound. So essentially that's actually happened in Ghana and also in Nigeria. We've seen it across in Kenya too. We've seen a few of the artists also trying to move towards. It's honestly it's based on consumers, what the consumers are actually looking for. If they want a particular sound based on what is actually happening.
So the talents are reactive.
Yeah, and
responsive.
Responsive to the market.
They are responsive to the market. They are not.
It depends on how
they are not stuck on to international music. Those who have been rock bands have been rock bands forever. Those who have been rappers, R&B singers, vocalists, instrumentalists, they've stuck to their genre. When you are winning, I don't say because you are cooking jollof and winning, I'm going to stop Akpele and come and cook jollof. It's in Africa we do that a lot. There's a thin line between being dynamic and diverse and being undefined. I want you to speak on that for me for a second, because a lot of young acts are now exposed to all this data. As I'm on the internet now, I can see this. Any artist can see this. And if he goes on a page and sees that, okay, only this type of music is what is popping, is that going to influence the rest of his next year? Is that what he's going to do next year because that's what's popping now? And what happens to authentic music? What happens to the rest of the genres? Like you are saying, something horrible happened in South Africa. Amapiano started popping, so hip-hop drowned. Yeah. That shouldn't be the case. Everybody should be able to win. Why only are we the ones in Africa who react that way?
In the famous words of EL, you have to sell out to sell out. So it's basically that.
I totally forgot that quote, Charlie.
If you are an artist and you put out a song, like you are saying, when the wave is catching up, you try also to experiment. Let's see how it goes. And I always believe it depends on how you approach it. Like a rapper, you can infuse a bit of it because you know where your strength lies. Maybe with the instrumentation, maybe with the style, and so on and so forth. If it works,
Sarkodie has stood his ground.
Yes.
Yeah, Manifest has stood his ground.
Their ground.
Sarkodie but I'm a piano song. So the thing just have to be diverse.
You have to be diverse, but you shouldn't be. One thing with audiences or listeners is that when they see you going far left from what they know you for, they get confused.
You put one leg in, don't jump inside. Yeah. Okay.
The two of you, Swekid and Paul, the two of you have spoken about having to be diverse, right? Would you say that the genres are fleeting, right? That there won't ever be a particular genre that is going to reign across several years?
Yeah. There won't be. We saw what probably happened to hip life. The thing, music is dynamic, and then also it's as it changes into other things as the year goes by, because listeners, behavior change. People introduce new sounds. There are new producers on the scene who are experimenting and looking at other things. So you will never have a genre that is going to maybe last, like say, generation, unless the typical genres we like, the traditional genres we have, like say reggae, you have gospel, you have rock, you have heavy metal, you have.
Why the Rasta man never change? Sure. Rastafari, respect to the whole style.
Like
ingrained music.
Why Rasta never change?
It's a culture, but
you change for you be sell out too. For them.
Even with them, like they've seen how dancehall has actually changed over the
most
years.
Of them.
Reggae, how well is reggae doing? Speaking of, I can't believe I didn't ask about reggae. Me where the Rastafarian.
Conscious
Charlie Eli Selassie, forgive me.
Well, reggae on our platform. People listen to reggae artists.
Boss, me alone, my school 30 billion.
They go to
their favorite reggae.
See,
to listen
reggae
to
is a relationship.
Yeah, they
but
listen to
not-
catalogs, not
Yes.
like new releases.
Exactly.
Like how
Do you have any interesting stats there? Who is rocking? Just one or two names. You don't have to rank them.
in Ghana?
Any reggae? Is there any reggae stats from Ghana?
reggae actually in our report, reggae hasn't actually been at the forefront compared to like the Afrobeats.
So we they listen to we they go on Boomplay to jam.
yeah.
We know they go Boomplay.
Reggae there for go back
the
cassettes.
funny thing there, like the unique thing about the listenership is that, like Phil said, is the catalog. They go back to we are listening. A lot of people are listening like to the Lucky Dube's, the Rob
culture,
Marley,
Morgan Heritage.
They are listening to them.
You'll be amazed. Like it's the classics that this kind of
reggae is timeless, huh?
Exactly. People are actually going to the classics than actually new releases, and so the new releases are not really doing well. But we've realized the classics are actually getting
Picking up.
more. Yeah.
Okay, let's
And
jump.
there's been this tendency of even reggae artists now branching in to do, to infuse our guys, infuse it with Afrobeat. If those who release album or EPs, if it's 5-track, you find like 3 reggae music, but 2 of them will be modern reggae,
Contemporary style.
Contemporary style.
We'll get into early morning, late night, and then some other interesting ones that I want you to expand on. But before then, let's quickly dive into Tanzania. I'm just going to run through. So we have Diamond Platnumz, Harmonize, and Mario. Top 3.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Mario's song.
Yeah.
Wow,
Mario is huge.
After
Is there a
Diamond
popular song I
Platnumz,
missed?
He's
We
like
should, we should check him out then.
Do you sing the
biggest
song?
guy.
Let me hear.
No, I thought we
We
should
should
check
check it.
him out
Olele.
then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario.
I hear of him.
Mario
They
has
lie.
I hear of him.
Are you Gen Z? Do you know Mario?
You know be sooner better sooner.
Eh?
What's that?
Charlie, he hasn't taken his medicine. Let's be going on. Yeah, so Diamond Platnumz, Harmonize Mario, and then for the ladies, Zuku, Nandi, and then Moa Sama. Okay, and then we also have
before you go ahead, let's talk about Diamond Platnumz. It looks like he's the landlord of Tanzania music, right?
Oh yeah. I think you did an unpacking or something. Somebody had a song with him.
Was it unpacking?
Was it unpacking? You did something about him, and they spoke so greatly about him.
Yeah, because like I don't know, did he release any record this year?
Yeah, and he has
a record.
He even experimented and
he had some features as well, some interesting features this year.
But he's an older artist.
He's done one with Patoranking.
Patoranking, right?
Yeah, that's when we had Patoranking on the show.
Yes,
when we had Patoranking, Pato spoke about Platinum and how big he was.
Because they have 2 songs at this point. They have 2
So
songs.
how is he?
When he was doing Koloko?
How is he as an older artist? Giving the Gen Z artists around for their money?
He's just like
he's not giving them around for the money. The money is number 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, their platform, like Paul said, the platform is more Gen Z
oriented,
right? Is it that the Tanzanians are not really?
the Tanzania music market is still growing.
Okay.
It's not established as maybe Nigeria or Ghana or even Kenya. So he has been like the face,
the landlord,
yes, of that space. And if you look at how he's moving, he's able to tap in or relate to who the consuming population.
Does he show up on any other stats in any of the other regions?
Yeah, definitely like Kenya, like
the East Africa,
so
Kenya, Uganda.
He's quite relevant in East. And then every now and then he comes here to do one feature to remind us that
he's still
in charge.
Huge. Even business-wise, like the music business, he recently signed a deal with I think Warner Music, right? Huge sums of money where he actually
his catalog
gave his whole catalog to Warner.
Wow.
Well, his album is actually the number 1 album on Boomplay's
East African charts.
Tanzania. First of all, that's the name of the album.
Wow.
Followed by Banaba and Alikiba. Alikiba. Okay. I see.
Well, phenomenal growth. J Melody, Mario again. Maybe that's why I don't know Mario. He's just got phenomenal growth.
And
then Fina.
The Zouk sound, like a bit of the Zouk and the what do you call it? He has this Zouk sound, very like, and also he even sometimes get towards the Afrobeat sound a bit.
We'll definitely check him out.
Another thing I've seen here is the booming genre here as well as Amapiano.
Yeah.
So it looks like Amapiano seems to have entered all these countries.
Across Africa, Afrobeat was like the biggest genre last year.
Right.
And so
booming genre, right?
Pardon?
Afrobeat was a booming genre last year.
Last year, yeah.
Okay.
Even biggest. In terms of
okay.
Reach.
Okay.
And so with time, we've realized what we actually do, especially with West Africa, is we try to look for the new sound and try to, in order to increase our reach and increase whatever sound we actually on now, and that's how come the Afrobeat artists were trying to move into Amapiano in order to extend the Afrobeat sound, and that's what has actually happened. And across board, Africa is known for the dance music. So
wow.
In talking about how collaborations also help to introduce these artists into the different markets, right? Because Cyril mentioned Diamond Platnumz having to do some collaborations just to keep him on top of our minds, right? How have collaborations boosted individual artists' catalogs on the platform? Because then you find that, okay, let's say Shatta Wale has a collaboration with an artist outside of Ghana, right? And then you find that it translates to that artist having a lot more listenership because of the introduction into the Ghanaian market.
Yeah. So even I'll give you a clear example, like Camidoh's Sugarcane remix. Mayokun has been very, very instrumental in Camidoh's reach in Nigeria. And to an extent where even when you consider the top listener countries for Camidoh, you're looking at Nigeria, you're looking at Kenya. Camidoh, even he released a whole EP, Gyakie EP, where he featured artists across East Africa and even to an extent to Latin America. Yeah. So collaborations play very, very important. It introduces artists to new markets and also, especially when the artist actually moves there to do promotional works and moves there to meet the industry players, it greatly helps.
Interestingly, with Camidoh, most of his streams we realized were coming from Nigeria. Yeah. He had more streams in Nigeria than Ghana.
Well, I that's very interesting, and it brings me to my next question. Right, we say Ghana, but a lot of things in Ghana happen in Accra. I want you to either echo this or dispute it, because I want to be clear for the listeners that where exactly are we consuming Ghana music the most when it comes to Boomplay? Is it Accra? Is it Kumasi?
It's Accra, Kumasi. Those are the two markets.
Okay.
But we also
at what percentile?
Accra ranks around 65.
So it's all Accra.
It's all majorly Accra. But we've also realized that when artists from Northern Ghana, like the Makisius, Fancy Gandams, drop projects, the rate at which it moves is crazy. Yes, because Makasio recently dropped an album, and within a week, it's garnered a lot of streams.
Would that growth be more than you saw with, I'll say, Accra-based artists?
Yes, most of Accra-based artists. So, and it's not one-off thing, even with singles, It's,
why is that?
Because they are, and this is an interesting thing. We've not done a lot of promotion up north, But the artists, like I'm saying, Fancy Gadam and his team visited our office. We told them, we showed them what the insight is, and they took it upon themselves to
market
do their own marketing on Facebook. Especially because that's where a lot of his people are. So now, top of mind awareness. Whenever he drops something, he makes sure he
directs them to
check it out.
So, do you think would you say that the northern artists have a more responsive fan base?
For them, they are very loyal to their artists.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Loyal.
They are very loyal to their artists. So once the artist tells them, go check my stuff on this platform.
Then I forgot enough.
Yeah. It's interesting because with Fancy, yes, it's Fancy. So when it drops on our platform, we are able to optimize Makasio to the same thing. But now we're giving them a lot of attention because of the conversation we've had with them, what we've seen them doing, and the numbers that is reflected as well.
Wow. Yeah. Then also we've also realized some listenership is also gaining ground from the Sunyani, like the Sunyani area, especially where we have the University of Natural Resources.
Yeah.
And that's how come you even have Mr. Easy, like one of his stops for the Dirty Wave roadshow. He actually had to like.
Does this listenership tally with the performance of any artist? Like, is it if listenership in Takrade increases, is it Kofi Kinaata?
Yeah, Kofi Kinaata.
Do you see now? Okay, they are listening to their Boomplay listenership is growing in Takrade, and then you go and check. Is it because that maybe they are listening to Wendy, Shay, or Sarkodie, or Manifest, or is it because they are listening to Kofi Kinaata?
They are listening to Kofi Kinaata.
Okay,
most of Kofi Kinaata's streams.
So it's loyalty based consumption.
Exactly.
So it's not necessarily about the app. It's more about the artist, and this is the way to get their music. So,
especially for artists from some of these regions. You know, Accra is
those who rep the everybody's from some region, but not everybody reps. Me, I'm not from here. Me, I'm from Volta. What am I doing here? But everybody is from somewhere. But it's like the repping of where you are from is what is creating this difference. So Accra is choked then.
Yes. So most of these regions also see it as we have to make a representation within the space. So if this is the artist from our region, we have to rep for them and support the artist no matter what. Yeah. Because when mentions are being made, we cannot, even though we are making music, we have artists who are also making numbers and so on and so forth. They are usually not mentioned. So we have to support them so that when we are doing the list, we'll also add them to it. So
okay.
But like to add, like I think the bigger conversation then would be that there's a need for us, especially our music industry, we need to look at beyond Accra as like
decentralizing.
Exactly, like everything has been fixated on Accra, which it helps to an extent, but it doesn't help to an extent because there are a lot of music potential out there, and we haven't actually developed our like regional bases very well compared to Nigeria. That's how come Nigeria will constantly be producing more talent, because the Nigerian like market has a lot of regional plays. The Jos, like for instance, Jos, which is northern, has a huge music market. Abuja is there, Lagos is there. It's well spread, and so we need to actually have that in Ghana.
Resource scarcity. That's the problem. That's why, I mean, every government that we've had tells us that they'll build studios, they'll build amphitheaters, they'll build this, because they themselves identify that there's resource scarcity. If there's a good enough sound industry up north, or in Tamale, or in Koforidua, or in Hohoe, or wherever, people will stay there and know that I can get end-to-end service. Yeah. But it's like the resources have been cluttered in Accra. And I think that's why a lot of people rally around Accra. We had J-Bad and Kwamina MP here the other day, and they made a statement that you can make the best songs in Kumasi. But in his words, one fan ban Accra.
Yeah.
Exactly what he said.
But it's like a sound like Asaka coming from
Kumasi.
It's a good thing, and it helps, because in the end, it may also boil down to the music players around that, like that,
exactly.
that region to help in,
because he actually said that Asaka had been there a long time before they blew. So it's not like they fluked it and blew. They were grinding, but for some reason the amplification wasn't working.
So maybe also our music policy makers are not.
You have the data. Media, me and my mouth I'm using here.
But in the end, it boils down to us. If how much we want it for our country. If we need, especially even media across all these regions, they need to really, really actually have an agenda where they want to push their own more. You get it, rather than always wanting to impose. We have that affinity to listen to foreign or listen to things outside, that are not ours.
Yeah.
But it's the need for us to actually grow our own base, and so the regional place for me is very, very important and very, very key to our growth in our music potential as a country. Apart
from the artists, some of them coming to you guys to get some of these insights, are there other stakeholders, of the space coming to ask for the data to either inform a decision making, or this is just the artist?
So let me just say this. Like once you, as you mentioned it, we've had a lot of labels reach out to us. I can tell you for some of the
local labels or
global labels, anonymous.
Yeah.
Like you hear of an act or an artist.
We actually have friends who are across the world.
Right.
They reach out, who is this artist? We see this, we see that. And also a lot of even some of the deals that have actually happened in Ghana, like in recent years, have actually come from Boomplay.
Wow.
Yeah, have actually come from Boomplay. We've had discussions. They are
not shouting about all these things for us to know. Get my number. I know we talk these things. We talk now.
There have been times where Shay and
because that's big.
Pitch some of these artists to some
we'll
of
be pitching artists to.
Pitching artists. This is the reason why I've
nice.
We've had artists here and we tell them that. Have you been contacted by labels? Have labels reached out to you and they're I'm doing my thing. If they come, they didn't know. If they knew that my performance on this or how I'm able to do this, I can reach a Sway Kid or a Paul and say, can you help me put out my portfolio? Do you think anybody would like to look at my portfolio and see what's possible? Blah blah. A lot of our young acts would have new doors available for them to walk through.
Sure. It's true.
Well, you keep on
just like you say, most of the. Because we interact with most of them. I mean, the majors and even the indies who are doing well. Yeah. So based on the kind of artists that they like and the kind of song that they are promoting, if you realize that there's an artist over here who is within the same frame, we pitch. Some of them have been successful.
Yeah. Others,
can you disclose some of the successful ones or NDAs? They talk plenty.
I don't want.
You don't want to. No problem. No. I wouldn't put you in a tight spot.
And even beyond, making pitches to labels or indie record labels. We've had partnerships as well with international radio stations.
Okay.
Currently, we did a deal with Generation Radio in France. Okay. Because they realized that hip hop they are a hip hop station.
Okay.
So they reached out to us that look, we've realized Ghana hip hop is doing well, or Ghana music is doing well. So we want to, use your charts data to also,
plug in the
new music. And the conversation went well. We've been rolling it out since last month.
So things don't just happen in a vacuum, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
People are working.
The power of data. Now, speaking of power of data, Ghana's early morning favorite song. What time span do you consider early morning, and what are the numbers on that? You've given us the song Praise by MOG.
Local Praise by MOG.
Local Praise.
Yeah. But, I mean, of course, it's a race, so he came first. But if the second and third can get a notable mention, so that just we have an understanding.
Okay, so I don't have like the problem, but it was very unique for us to actually notice that his song in particular has this huge listenership when it comes to early morning. And we realized that maybe it's a thing with us
early morning being what? Give me a time frame.
Early morning being from 3 a.m. down to 6 a.m.
Okay.
We realized and maybe it's also cultural, people's morning devotions, so we realized gospel early morning and late nights.
Yeah, they're all gospel.
Which other artists were in that 3-hour dawn?
Mostly gospel.
Mostly gospel. Okay.
So you have the emojis, you have the Dina.
We have a very Ghanaian audience. We're a tough crowd, though, because it means that your music, they will consume it at peak, at dawn, and then they break.
And then on Sundays.
That's a tough crowd.
There's this thing that we realized recently, that we created sleep playlists, which we were not really promoting.
Yeah.
We were sitting there.
What's the purpose of the sleep playlist?
Well,
just tell us.
Yes, if you are going to sleep,
just
anything, put it on
to sleep. So we realized that the numbers were shooting up crazily. So we decided to make it something, a leading thing. So now for the past months, every day we push a playlist, between 9 to midnight and early morning, 2 to 4 for whoever wants it. Then based on that data, we adopted it here in Ghana, where we are doing most of our music pushes and playlist pushes between 7 to 9 o'clock. And we've realized how impactful that has also been.
Who were on the sleep playlist?
So the sleep playlist is Adoma, Ria Boss. We also have
voices. Voices. People want to relax.
Soothing, yeah.
You see, so that's why I said it's a tough crowd, because it's like the consumer has a set of boxes, and every artist is kind of, I wouldn't use the word forced, but it's kind of housed in a box.
Yeah.
You understand? I can listen to Adoma and Ria Hot Sun 1 p.m. Full volume in their car. I don't care. But the fact that somebody wants to sleep to their music, or somebody wants to wake up with emoji, blah blah blah. I mean, I don't know if it's good or bad. I feel some way about it. What do you think, Lenny?
Well, I think it's about preferences and choice, right?
But do we do that with music from outside?
Consumers like that.
Yes.
Is there a time we listen to Drake?
Yes. You see,
is there a time we listen to Drake or Chris Brown?
Yes, because back then,
times, radio will play
cools in the afternoon. Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Like cools in the afternoon, ideal.
Or you wait for GTV to do a pause for reflections.
Ideal. So I think it's just about choices.
Okay.
So, and then also people claim when it's raining, there's a type of music that you should listen to. So
early song
and
late song are all gospel.
Yeah.
It's right.
Late song.
He only tells
sorry, I said Boomplay.
What's Nigeria's story?
For the early nights, I think. Let me see. Nigeria,
Nigeria too has Moses Bliss there.
You see, it's similar.
Yeah.
So for Nigeria, the early morning Moses Bliss, which is too faithful.
Yeah.
Then late night is
Olamide Blaze.
Yeah.
No, you see, I mean, for me, I think this actually tells you the kind of musical landscape Nigeria is experiencing. The nightlife in Nigeria is clearly buzzing. Yeah. It's clearly buzzing, and of course, every morning in an African country, it is what it is. We are religious people. We want to.
We are superstitious.
I'm just surprised. Famia's praise, right?
Yeah.
Yes, praise.
Just for shaky reasons, do you have the stats on praise?
Yeah. I'm just surprised it's not an early morning favorite
because praise is a big song.
Yeah.
We were at the RTPs, and
from last year
when he started praise.
Yeah.
Praise is a big song,
I'm just
late night song, early morning song, gospel song, or
it should be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we had given you like a top 5,
would have
definitely falling songs.
Right.
But this one we picked the number one.
Okay. Well, that was a bit unusual.
Okay.
Even like with the Valentine's Day and even the New Year's Day choice of songs, very unusual.
Okay, sorry if you don't mind. I want to just drop back a little bit on the top male artist, Lasmid. Let's talk about Lasmid for a second. As for Shatawale, we've already talked about Black Sherif, no brainer. But Lasmid, I don't know. Was it a slender win over Camidoh and Kelvynboy? Because I know Camidoh and Kelvynboy had a relatively good year. But talk to us about Lasmid's numbers. How did he end up here? And what was the science and data behind it? Because Friday nights, we know Lasmid has done a couple of records with, Kwame Eugene. He's done a few records here and there. But after Friday nights, Lasmid has been the conversation up to now, and he's part of the top male artists. And then he also makes part of the what do you call it? Most streamed songs, number 1 in 2022. And then he's charting 9 times. That's like 3 unique, interesting milestones for a relatively new artist. Talk to us about that. I don't know if you have the. And he's also part of the booming artists in the same bracket as Camidoh and DJay. Yeah. What worked for him?
Lasmid has been a unique artist, since his music popped. I don't know what he and the label did, to have that sustenance as far as getting people interested in their music. But on our platform, it's been since the song came out. I think is it in September or October, thereabout. He's been in it. Friday night has been shifting positions with Kiss Daniel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kiss Daniel's Buga. Wow.
Buga or Kof?
Buga.
Okay.
At first.
Wow.
They've been having that back and forth. Now, Kof.
All Ghanaians or mixed listenership?
It's mixed listenership.
So it's also big in Nigeria, or is it relevant in Nigeria?
Well, he has streams in Nigeria, but Ghana streams are way
like 80-20.
Like 80-20, obviously. So he's been Buga has lost his position in our top 10, but then Lasmid is there. Kof has replaced Buga for Kiss Daniel.
So Lasmid, Kof,
he's been a constant, but you know.
Wow.
So for him, that's what I'm saying. It's very difficult. I find it very difficult. It's not like he's doing some heavy promotion.
The song is kind of selling itself.
You know, the song is selling itself. It's very catchy.
It's catchy.
It's solid.
Catchy. It's selling itself not only on the app but outside too. Just like I'm saying, and we've done. Kewa is somebody that knows our platform.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
with Mr. Drew.
Yeah.
What we did for Mr. Drew, he came, we had conversations, so at least he understands how to get listeners.
The value of from
you know, on sustain or grow his artist listenership on our platform. So I think they are doing something beyond just, you know.
But is it just Friday nights that is keeping him up there?
No, Atelier.
Atelier
is also. And when you go in the top 30, you find the Sika song with Camidoh also, you know.
Okay. I know it's possible to have your song have a lot of streams without necessarily having your profile getting a lot of is it subscribers or followers or whatever. What's that discrepancy for Lasmid? Because it's like I fear that the Friday night song might be bigger than Lasmid. You get what I'm saying?
It is.
It is.
I'm sure most people don't even know
who the guy is.
They know the song, but they don't know who the guy is.
I myself, Lenny's the one.
Last week Friday, I was saying that with people getting to hear Friday nights, it actually pushed them to now go listen to other songs
That's actually what's happened.
So he's still kind of in the discovery phase, but he's just found a big hit in the beginning of his journey. That makes it tough.
It's very tough.
It's
very tough.
The pressure.
The pressure. Because we asked Kelvynboy the same thing. We asked Camidoh the same thing. That now your song has gone everywhere now. So what next song? What are you going to do?
It's a pressure. It's a lot of
big pressure.
It's a big pressure. But then again, as an artist, I feel like yes, everybody's looking for that big hit, but you should be able to have popular songs.
Yeah.
Not necessarily big hits, because big hits do come once in a while. If you are fortunate, you might have it.
I see some stats here. Your highlights: 19 million songs, 8.2 million artists, 88 million active users, 2.5 million social media followers. If you can just break it down. I see that is the same stats across all the markets.
Yeah, so this is basically like Boomplay stats. So
this is your summary.
Yeah, this is a summary of like our stats in terms of like music.
Africa or global?
Global, but the app is mainly Africa. It's Africa focused.
8.2 million artists.
That are on the platform. Yeah,
that's global.
That's global.
It
includes like
the international.
And we've been mentioning the same 6 names for 1 hour. 8.2 million artists, performers, singers, rappers.
Everybody.
Then the Obiaa studio.
19 million songs.
All over. We have content.
Wow.
That's a lot going on, bro.
I can imagine your cloud storage.
That's a lot.
Bro.
That's how come.
Wow. Olele, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're done answering that question though.
Oh no, so I was just basically saying we realized streaming has increased by 248% like this year.
Wow.
200.
Allow cash out.
And also like our catalog has increased to like 90 million, like you see the like the monthly active users, which was I think around 60 has increased to 88.
Do you have anything to attribute to that? What's 240%? That's something has to give. What did you do? What button did you press? Use the mic for me, Paul.
No, I think largely like Boomplay, we've done more with our marketing and increased awareness about the music consumption. Our main thing has been that we want to have a large pool of listeners, and then we can convert these listeners, these legal music consumers, to paying subscribers, and so that's what we've been actually pushing. So our efforts have been geared towards getting the consumers to understand that for the benefit of the industry, they need to be on our platform, and also we've also invested most of our resources into the artists, where we do a lot of promotional stuff on the platform and off the platform. So I think all these are telling, and this is why we have this numbers this year.
And they've also set up new offices in certain markets. Like Zambia, for instance, we are operating in Zambia.
So you're expanding as well.
Yes, and in Ivory Coast as well.
Cameroon, Ivory Coast.
We have foothold in Sierra Leone as well, and Uganda is also Rwanda as well. And next year we are going to South Africa. So
I mean, and then possibly Europe too. Yeah.
There's a name I'm not seeing here, and that name is King Promise. I know.
Oh yeah.
He's done a lot for himself. As promised was.
He's still doing a lot for himself. He's doing well. He's one of our big acts.
As promised, set the record for the most streamed album on Spotify. He's dropped another album. He's gone on tour. He's dropped quite a number of hot singles. Iniesta and the one with Omale. I keep forgetting the name. Ten Toes. Yeah. You know, but I'm not seeing his name pop. What's wrong? What's going on? What's wrong?
With King Promise, I think he's concentrating much more on the diasporan markets.
Okay.
You know, so more with even the album.
The
sound, you know, the promotional activities has mostly been outside of Ghana. He hasn't done much more promo, except like we know him. He has dropped. People are listening to him. You know?
Right.
So that actually has contributed.
Is that what the data shows?
Yes.
Okay. That's what the data shows.
So his efforts are not.
Okay.
They're
not localized.
They are not local. You know. Centered.
So that means
we should shout up, cry. It's popping somewhere.
Yeah, he's no longer a local champion.
He does very well, especially in the European market.
Yeah, in the European market. He R2Bs.
Yeah. R2Bs.
That's what I was just going to ask you about.
Can promise R2Bs. You know, they do a lot more outside.
Okay. Speaking of bills, let me pay my bills and do some LPM. Milo, are you ready?
Milo.
Nsura, are you ready?
Milo.
After Milo, you saw water. You don't have to saw water today.
No,
Discover a world of innovation, a world of luxury, and a world many of us dream about owning. Discover the world of Bang & Olufsen, a particularly true brand in the ever-evolving realm of high-end electronics you might love to own. Locate us at Accra Atlantic Tower, Liberation Road 1, where each passing day, month, and year, a variety of drool-worthy new electronic gadgets ranging from exquisite home theaters, speakers, headphones, television sets, and soundbar products are released. Bang & Olufsen, like no one else.
All right, now whether it's Project Mbappe, Project Ronaldo, Project Messi, there's definitely a champion in your child. So don't just wake up your child, help wake up the champion in them with energy from Milo with Active Go and other foods. Your child needs all the help they can get as they go through their daily activities. Milo with Active Go contains the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa, and is a source of vitamins B2, B3, B6, B12, C, and D, and minerals, iron, calcium, phosphorus. Energize them with a nourishing cup of Milo every day. If you like, you can add tea bread, wheat bread, or Bounce bread. Milo, energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved. Gosh, alrighty. Yep. I think we're done.
Well,
we're done paying our
Belacqua, shouts to Belacqua as well. Belacqua is the official partner for Culture Daily. So what a partner. Thank you so much for refreshing us and refreshing our throats with your very refreshing.
We don't usually
water.
speak big English like this in the morning.
If not from Belacqua, we won't be doing that. Yeah, so shouts to you. Thanks so much for coming on board.
I've had a very insightful conversation with you. I'm sure our listeners too have enjoyed the journey, understanding how their behavior equals streams, equals money, equals to the death and the birth of brands. And I hope we all get advice guys, any last words from you guys, especially with the growth that you've witnessed, looking at the new year that's coming up? A lot of artists came up in this queue, the final quarter. Yeah. What do you think? What are we to expect in 23?
Well, from conversation with most of them, we get a sense that 2023 is going to be a lively year for us as far as music is concerned. Most of them took 2022 off, to find their ways around many things. So they've scheduled their project for 2022, and we are also hopeful. I mean, Boomplay, as you know, we used to do partnership, concert partnership, and so on and so forth. But because of one reason or the other, this year we couldn't do much. So hopefully next year we'll be able to partner more events, as a way of promoting the brand and also supporting the artists.